Roland does not raise his voice. He never has to. He sets the eviction letter on the glass dining table like a receipt. His eyes do not leave his phone. The letter slides 2 inches toward Nkechi. 20 years of her life, folded into 3 paragraphs. The AC hums at exactly 22 degrees, the same temperature he keeps it at when he wants her to feel the cold. She stares at the Fendi logo on the envelope's edge. He chose Fendi stationery for an eviction notice to his wife. The legal team says you have 14 days, he says. Not looks up, just says. She does not move. Outside, the Lagos Island skyline blinks 40 stories below them. There is no wind up here. There is never any wind up here. But what Roland did not know was, if you are watching this from Norway, from the United States, from London, from Canada, from Germany, Lagos, from anywhere a woman has given everything to a man who treated her love like a rental agreement, this one is for you. Because this story is not just a story. This is a thing that happened in a penthouse, in a city that rewards cruelty and calls it ambition. Stay with me, because justice, when it finally arrives in a place like this, arrives wearing a suit. And if you believe no one should be thrown away after 20 years of sacrifice, hit that subscribe button before the story ends. You will want to be here when it does. The Pinnacle Residences on Adeola Odeku Street is not the kind of building you find. It is the kind of building that finds you after you have crossed a certain income threshold, after your name appears in a certain bracket of Lagos society. The lobby is black granite and spotless. The concierge knows your preferred coffee order by your 3rd visit. The elevator requires a biometric scan and moves in silence, as if the building itself does not want to be overheard. On the 40th floor, there are only 2 apartments. Roland and Nkechi Basi occupy the one facing the water. The other has been empty for 11 months, until last Tuesday when moving trucks arrived before sunrise and the neighbors in the building WhatsApp group were informed, by Roland himself, that a colleague would be moving in. The group read it and said nothing. In this building, people do not ask questions they are not prepared to hear the answers to. They protect reputations here, the way they protect investment portfolios, with silence, with distance, and with the kind of calculated blindness that passes for class. What people in the Pinnacle fear most is not poverty, it is visibility. Being seen losing, being discussed in that WhatsApp group with the wrong tone. Nkechi had understood this. She had managed their social surface for 20 years with the precision of a woman who knew that a marriage in Lagos Island is also a brand. She takes her morning coffee black, no sugar. She has taken it that way since the twins were born, when she stopped having time for anything that required extra steps. She makes it herself, every morning, on the same Miele machine, even now. Nkechi Basi is 46 years old, and she carries herself the way women do when they have learned to need very little visible approval. She was a structural engineer before the children came, before Roland said it would be easier if she managed the home, before easier became permanent. She still reads engineering journals on her tablet every Thursday, the way some people return to a language they no longer speak but cannot forget. She ran this home like she once ran site reviews, without error, without complaint, without credit. She enrolled the twins in Green Springs and then in Harrow when Roland insisted. She flew to London alone to settle them in because Roland was in a board meeting. She managed 2 house staff, a driver, Roland's social calendar, her mother's hospital appointments, and her company's annual gala for 17 years running. Not as his employee, as his wife. Those 2 words apparently meant different things to different people. The one person she trusted in this building was Amara, Roland's personal assistant, who sometimes came to the apartment on weekends when Roland had urgent documents that couldn't wait. Amara was 28, efficient, and had a way of refilling Nkechi's water glass without being asked that made Nkechi think, incorrectly, that she understood loyalty. She did not yet know what Amara had been watching. It begins quietly. It always does in these buildings, where the air is too controlled for anything to smell wrong until it already is. Nkechi's name disappears from the Pinnacle Residence's tenant portal, Not removed, just no longer listed as co-occupant. She notices it on a Thursday morning when she tries to book the rooftop pool for a gathering. The system tells her she has no booking permissions. She calls the concierge. He is polite, apologetic. He will look into it. He does not call back. She emails the building management from her personal account. 3 days later, a reply. Her name was updated on instruction from the primary leaseholder, Mr. Bassi, who has been the sole leaseholder since the apartment was first registered, a detail Nkechi, in the architecture of trust she built her marriage inside, had never thought to verify. She does not say anything to Roland that evening. She watches him at dinner, the way he cuts his chicken, the way he scrolls his phone, the way he has not looked at her in 11 days, and she files the feeling away where she has been filing things for years, deep and still and waiting. She does not sleep well, but she does not cry either. The second confrontation comes on a Monday, and it comes with an audience. Roland hosts a monthly executive dinner in the apartment, 8 people, catered, a ritual that Nkechi has orchestrated since year 2 of their marriage. She arranges the wines, she knows the dietary restrictions, she moves the evening like a conductor moves an orchestra, invisibly, completely. This Monday, she arrives in the dining room at 6:40, 20 minutes before guests, to find that the table is already set, differently. Roses she did not order, a seating arrangement she did not plan, and at the far end of the living room, standing in the exact position Nkechi has always stood when greeting arrivals, is a woman. She is perhaps 31. She wears a Bottega Veneta dress in sage green. She is holding a clipboard, Roland's clipboard that Nkechi bought him for these dinners, and she is reading from it with the confidence of someone who has been rehearsing this role for much longer than tonight. Her name, Nkechi will later learn, is Tiwa. Roland enters from the study. He does not stop walking. You remember I mentioned a colleague is staying next door. I asked her to help organize tonight. You always say these dinners are too much for you. Nkechi says nothing. Her hand does not move. Her face does not move, but something behind her sternum tightens, like a bolt being turned past its limit. The guests arrive. They greet Nkechi warmly, the way people greet landmarks, acknowledging them without really seeing them. Tiwa moves through the room with Roland. They refill glasses together. They finish each other's sentences about the wine pairing. One of the executives, Dotun, whom Nkechi has known for 15 years, glances at her once across the table with an expression she cannot read and does not try. By 9 o'clock, Nkechi understands what is happening. She understood it at 6:42, if she is honest, but understanding a thing and surviving the room it is happening in are 2 different skills. The eye that has seen death cannot close again in innocence. She excuses herself at 9:30. She does not say good night to Tiwa. She goes to the bedroom that still technically has her name on the deed, or so she believes, and she sits on the edge of the bed in the dark and breathes. The ally arrives in a form no one would have suspected, a WhatsApp message at 11:47 p.m. The sender is Kolade, Roland's driver of 9 years, a man who has collected Nkechi from hospitals, from school events, from the airport returning from London with the twins, from places Roland could not be bothered to be. A man whose name Roland has never once used in a social conversation without calling him my driver. The message is short. Madame, I need to show you something. It is not something I can send. Please come down to Lobby B tomorrow at 8 a.m. before Oga wakes. Nkechi stares at it for a long time. She goes. Kolade is standing near the service elevator, away from the CCTV cluster near the main desk. He holds a brown envelope. His hands are not steady. I drove her from the Lecky house to this building last month and the month before. I drove her to the legal office on Kingsway. I saw the papers. I did not understand everything, but I understand enough. He pushes the envelope toward her. I cannot keep this. Inside, copies of 2 documents. One is a statutory declaration filed 2 months ago stating that Nkechi had voluntarily vacated the matrimonial home. The other is a power of attorney, signed, notarized, transferring management of the Pinnacle apartment entirely to Roland. and Ketchy's signature is on both. She has never signed either. The third blow lands in the office. Roland is on the board of Bossy Wright Holdings, the construction firm he co-founded, with capital that came in the beginning from Nketchi's inheritance from her father. This was never documented. It was marriage. People do not document marriages. Nketchi's name was removed from the board 6 years ago, quietly, at Roland's suggestion, to simplify shareholding structure. She signed the restructuring forms without reading them carefully because she was returning from London with a sick child, and Roland had said it was routine. She has never been reinstated. But she attends the quarterly board dinner each year. She always has. She knows every face in that room. This quarter's dinner is at the Echo Hotel in the Atlantic Hall, and Nketchi attends as she always does, in a gown she had made specifically for tonight, because she is still Roland's wife, regardless of what 14 days means. She arrives at 6:30. The registration desk has a guest list. Her name is not on it. The woman at the desk, young, professional, genuinely confused, says, "I'm sorry, ma'am, I only have what was sent to me." Behind Nketchi, 3 executives she has known for a decade file in and are registered immediately. One of them, BC, a woman who has eaten in Nketchi's home more than a dozen times, makes eye contact, slows her step, and keeps walking. Nketchi does not move from the spot in front of the registration desk. She does not raise her voice. The room is full of people in formal wear, and the air smells of money and fresh flowers, and the chandeliers above her are the kind that cast no shadows. "Please call Mr. Bossy. Tell him his wife is at the door." The woman calls. She listens. She sets the phone down with a specific, careful neutrality and says, "Ma'am, he says tonight is for board members and invited guests only." The room notices. You can't unnotice a thing like that. A woman in custom gown standing at a door she has passed through for 20 years, being told she does not belong inside. People set down the glasses. People stop mid-sentence. The sound of the room changes the way a room sounds when something has become a scene. And Nketchi, who has organized Roland's portion of 17 years of board dinners, who knows the name of the events coordinator better than Roland does, who still has the events manager's private number in her phone, takes a breath. But the cola nut must be broken before it can be shared. She walks to a quiet corner of the lobby, she makes 3 calls, and she waits. She is parked in the hotel's basement car park at 10:30 p.m., Not her car, she came with the driver. She sits in the back seat. The car is not running. Kolade does not speak because he is the kind of person who understands when speech is not the point. She looks at the forged signatures on the documents he gave her. She looks at them for a long time. A structural engineer, even a retired one, understands the load-bearing difference between a foundation and a facade. A building can look perfect from the outside for 20 years. It can win awards. People can take photographs of it. Then you look at the soil reports and you understand that it was never going to last. She did not fail this marriage. She built it. What she failed to understand was that the building was not hers. She calls her solicitor at 10:47, a woman named Fumi, who has been her personal lawyer, not their shared lawyer, since year 8 of the marriage, the year Nketchi's father died, and she quietly made sure she had someone in her corner who was hers alone. That foresight now feels like the one intelligent thing she did for herself in a very long time. I have forged documents, a willing witness, and a building management system with an audit trail that will show when my name was removed and by whose instruction. I need you at Echo Hotel by midnight. Fumi says, "I'll be there in 40 minutes. Nketchi closes her eyes, just for a moment. Then she opens them and looks at the concrete pillars of the car park and feels something inside her that is not quite anger and not quite calm, but is the specific temperature of a woman who has finally run out of patience for performing peace. The board dinner ends at 11:15. The executives filter out through the Atlantic Hall's main doors into the hotel lobby, where the lighting is warm and the bar is still open, and the energy of a successful evening follows them like cologne. Nkechi is standing in the lobby. She is standing with Funmi, her solicitor. She is standing with Kolade, who is holding the brown envelope. She is standing with the Echo Hotel's head of events, Mrs. Ajayi, who has known Nkechi for 14 years, and who, when Nkechi called her private number at 10:30 and explained what was needed, said, "I have CCTV access, and I will pull whatever you need." She is standing with a senior partner from Funmi's firm, who carries a separate folder. And she is standing with one more person, the hotel's technology manager, who has already connected his laptop to the lobby screen that normally displays welcome messages, the large screen visible from every direction of the space, and has loaded, at Nkechi's instruction, a queue of files. Roland comes out with Tiwa on his arm. He is laughing at something one of the executives has said. He sees Nkechi. The laugh does not stop immediately. It ends in the slow, particular way that confidence drains when a man realizes the room is already watching. He walks toward her. He lowers his voice to the register he uses when he wants to control a space. "What is this?" he says. "This," Nkechi says, "is a board meeting I was not invited to, so I arranged my own." Funmi steps forward. "Mr. Bassi, I represent Mrs. Nkechi Bassi. We have filed an emergency injunction this evening preventing the transfer or sale of any jointly held assets pending a full forensic review. You'll receive formal notice tomorrow morning, but given that your full board is present tonight, we thought it appropriate to address several matters now." On the screen behind her, the first document appears, Nkechi's forged signature, enlarged, then the genuine comparison signature from her passport, on file, dated, certified. The difference is immediate. The difference is not subtle. An executive named Chidi sets down his whiskey glass slowly, the way a man sets something down when he wants to give himself a moment to think. The hotel registrar steps forward, a young man who was at the front desk when Nkechi was turned away, confirms on camera, recording now, the exact words that were communicated to him from Roland's table when Nkechi's name was denied entry. The lobby screen changes to the CCTV footage, Roland and Tiwa 9 days ago in the Pinnacle lobby, speaking to the building management representative. The timestamp is clear. The conversation cannot be heard, but the documents they are exchanging can be seen. Funmi names them, one by one, from the copies in her folder. The board members do not leave. They stand and they watch, and the room has gone to that particular quality of silence when witnesses understand they have just become part of a record. Roland. "Tiwa," says, quietly. He says nothing. He is looking at the screen. He is looking at what 20 years of contempt looks like when it is lit from every angle and there is nowhere to put your hands. An executive named Obina, a man who knew Nkechi before Roland did, who attended their wedding, who has played golf with Roland every second Saturday for a decade, turns away from Roland, crosses the lobby, and stands beside Nkechi. He does not speak. He just stands there. The statement requires no words. The hotel receptionist, who stopped typing when Nkechi walked in with her team, quietly resumes her work. Kolade, who is standing to Nkechi's left, holds the envelope in both hands. He does not shake. The police, Funmi notes for the room, have received a formal complaint regarding document forgery and fraudulent transfer of marital property. The matter is now being investigated. Roland looks at Nkechi. For the first time in, she cannot remember how long, he looks directly at her. She does not look away. She does not speak. The look is enough. It is 4 months later. The apartment that Nkechi moves into is on the 18th floor of a building on Glover Road, 3 streets from the Pinnacle, near enough to the water that she can see it from the bedroom. The lease is in her name, only her name. She knows this because she read every line before she signed. She took very little from the penthouse, her engineering journals, her coffee machine, and a photograph of the twins taken the summer they turned 10 in London in front of a red phone box, laughing at something she cannot remember. And it does not matter what it was. She keeps it on the kitchen counter where she can see it while she makes her coffee every morning, still black, still no sugar. The twins are aware of what their father did. They are adults now. They chose, quietly and without drama, to call their mother every Sunday. Bassi Wright Holdings is currently under a financial misconduct investigation. Kolade has given a formal witness statement. His name has been protected. He drives for a different family now, a woman on Banana Island who, Nkechi is told, does use his name in conversation. Funmi's firm is preparing a civil case. It will take time. Nkechi does not need it to go fast. She needs it to go right. The engineering firm that offered her a consulting role 8 months ago, before any of this became public, on the basis of a portfolio she quietly updated over 3 years, is waiting for her answer. She is going to give it this week. The easy road is not always the right road. She knows this now in a way she did not when she was 26 and in love with a man who wore his ambition beautifully. On a Thursday morning, she takes her coffee to the window. She looks at the water. She does not look at the Pinnacle. Kolade could have stayed silent. He had everything to lose and nothing obvious to gain, but he chose Nkechi, not loudly, not heroically, just quietly, with an envelope, at 8 in the morning. That choice changed everything. So I want to ask you, if you were in Kolade's position, if you saw what he saw, would you have done the same? Tell me in the comments, and if this story moved you, if it reminded you that sacrifice deserves more than an eviction notice, subscribe, because there are more stories like this one, and they all deserve to be told.